coming from that.
Oh, and like Hulk Hogan just died, and everybody was talking about he racist, and I
I
was like,
thought he died like a couple of years ago. I'm bugging.
that is hilarious. That's we're gonna get back to that.
I swear I did.
How you thought a nigga already died? Like, what?
I swear I thought Hulk Hogan died like 4 years ago or 3 years ago. I don't know. I was like, what do you mean he died? Who resuscitated the motherfucker? I thought he died. Go ahead. I was like, go ahead.
But like him being racist, like I was like, people were like, yo, he racist. Y'all celebrating him and all of this shit. And I'm like, and they said he from Savannah, Georgia. And I'm like, Savannah, Georgia? I was like, duh, he's not racist. He just 73 years old and he from fucking Savannah, Georgia. Like, he don't know the things that he's saying are inappropriate and wrong just because it's so just normalized where he's from. So y'all like, he racist. It's like, he just from Savannah, Georgia. And he's 73 years old. He's from a time where saying, I wish my daughter, if she gonna date a nigga, she date a rich nigga. He was saying something positive.
That's right. That's right. In his mind, he's never had to bite his tongue, and everything that he has been exposed to in his development said that, we're lesser people and nothing to do with the systemic racism has any impact on the circumstances he may have grown up observing black people deal with. He might have seen black neighborhoods where shit was run down. They didn't have good schools, so the kids weren't very educated. There wasn't a whole lot of structure. So the kids may not have been all that well behaved or hungry. Motherfucker hungry to act crazy. So he might have looked at those circumstances like most of them do and saw no connection or correlation between those conditions and the circumstances created and maintained by systemic racism. He's not aware of systemic racism. He's not aware of it. He's a product of it. He's a proponent of it by way of, maintaining the mindset, but he's an unconscious, for the most part, they are unconscious participants of the system. That's why they don't think it exists. It's to try to explain to the average unremarkable white person what systemic racism is it's like trying to explain to a fish that it's wet, that it's in water. It's like, how are you going to explain to a fish it's in water and it's wet because it's in water? It's like, what are you talking about?
They didn't get it until they had mixed race grandkids, and they was just like, oh no, fuck no. Why y'all treating my grandkid indifferent?
That's right. Yeah. So, what you call it? Just asks, Big Boo Daddy said, so y'all saying they kill at the same rate as us? I'm saying they kill at a greater rate than us.
There's way more of them. We're a minority. You got to stop. You hyper focused on us and what you hear from us, and not knowing that there's way more of us, and they've been killing and pillaging the whole time.
Yep.
So
yes,
they kill way more.
Yes,
they go and kill the whole country.
The reason, that's right, and we've never done that. Now, and you're talking about contemporary time, of course. You're talking about now. Mm-hmm. And the answer is yes. Now, I wonder this. You ask a question like that. That question, to me, would be based in the idea that you know something, and that what you apparently know is that we kill each other at a greater rate than they do. Where would you have gotten that information from? Have you taken the time to look at the actual numbers across states? Have you actually studied the statistical information as it relates to violent crime? Or are you going on your passing awareness based upon the system of white supremacy that propagates the idea that we are an uncivilized group of people? So everything that they show, everything they focus on, everything that they put emphasis on is to perpetuate the idea that we are somehow more violent than any other human beings on this planet. people don't know what they think they know, and they should know they don't know it because they never actually took the time. And I don't know what your background is, boo. I don't have no clue. I'm making a general statement that I know to be true. I don't know if this statement pertains to you in particular. You would know. People will act as though they know something when they know that they never actually allocated any time or attention to actually learning it or finding it out. Most of the time when people espouse so-called information, it's really just them having an attachment for whatever reason to a particular idea. Maybe it's whom they got it from. If they have a feeling about a person, if a person has a feeling about Kavario, they have a regard for me. If I say something, they're going to be inclined to believe it because I said it and they feel a way about me. That's my man. I fucks with him. I think he's smart, whatever. So if he said it, I'm going to take it for what it is. Now, that's a better bet in most instances than with most people, to be honest, because I'm not going to say anything about anything that I don't have some actual insight into. There's no way I can have the absolute insight into anything. So that regardless of how much I may be able to share based upon what I've actually exposed myself to on purpose, there is always going to be probably more on the other end, meaning more I don't know than I do know. But you can know this. If I say it, what I say, I know based upon an actual conscious, deliberate effort to find that information out. That's why there's nobody who'll ever tell you that Kavario gave them bad advice or wrong advice. Nobody. No one. Son, I've known you for 39 years. Have I ever said anything to you that ever turned out not to be what I said? Honestly.
Not one time. You done said, don't mess with that girl. You done said, he gonna die. You done said, don't drive that car. You done said everything you said like that, it came to be true. It came to be like, damn, I should have listened. Or damn, I'm glad I did listen. Like, it was always that. It was always came to fruition. It wasn't just you just saying some shit just to say some shit, just because you like to aggrandize yourself and feel like you're important and you know everything.
And I'm the daddy. Listen to me. I'm in charge. Yeah, no. Not at all. Not at all. I have behaved towards people the way I've wanted to be behaved towards. I've always wanted to be given the most accurate and pertinent insight, because, I mean, in the lifestyle I come from, getting the most accurate and pertinent information was the difference between living and dying. So getting accurate information and giving accurate information has always been a significantly important thing in my life. And living life, especially the life that I live, I didn't live a square person's life. I lived a life where every single day, this is not hyperbole, this is not hype or whatever the latest word is for, or cap or whatever. This is none of that shit. None of that shit. Miss what I'm saying and die in the dark. I'm telling you, this is none of that shit. I'm telling you that I have lived a life from day to day to day where every single decision you make could be the difference between you going home and not. However it is your ass get missing, whether you get your brains blown out or whether you get your lights put out in that courtroom. But I grew up into reality in that circumstance, which meant that every single step was an important step. Life was a literal landmine, like a landmine field. Every step that you took could potentially blow your legs off. Every step. When you have those kinds of potentialities, if you have any sense, it heightens your degree of awareness. It makes you far more serious than people who don't come from circumstances like that, or who haven't been in situations like that for extended period of times. I'm not talking about you cats who stepped out in the street when you were 17, 18 years old because, a friend of yours encouraged you and you spent this one wild summer, just doing whatever. And by the end of the summer, your friend was gone forever or dead. I'm not talking about that. You didn't have the experience I'm talking about. The experience I'm talking about is a lifetime I spent a lifetime in that existence. I was born into it, born into those circumstances where I was made aware that every step you take, every decision you make could potentially mean the end of your life. Every decision. No decision is so small, it don't matter. If you didn't come up in the kind of environment that I came up in, I don't care what hood you came from, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You don't know the depth of the shit I'm talking about. You want to think you do because you think that it makes you cool. This ain't got a fucking thing to do with being cool. This has everything to do with making it. Like just making it through life. And making it through life is a far better fucking measure, far greater measure of value than being cool. And I've not been in a situation where I could afford to give somebody inaccurate information just because I want to hear myself talk. Everything that I've ever said to anybody, to me, was of paramount fucking significance. And everybody who didn't listen got a bad outcome. That's the truth. That's the truth. Now, if what I just said, if you didn't hear what I just said, the way I said it, but instead heard, I'm smarter than everybody else, and I know more than everybody else, whatever, that's your fucking ego. You have inadequacy issues because you can't hear what I'm saying. I got my information and I heeded my information because I had no choice. In the home I came up in, it was listen or die, motherfucker. It's not an option. When I was given directives, it wasn't an option. It was do or die, motherfucker. Because it wasn't just about me and my choices. I was part of a collective. So that meant my choices could adversely impact others. And they weren't going to sit around and watch me just juggle shit, talk about, look at me, yo, look, I'm rocking, look at it. Like, nigga, that shit you're juggling. You can't stand nowhere near us juggling shit. And juggling shit means consistently making bad decisions, irresponsible decisions, callous decisions. That's juggling shit. A lot of y'all live like that. A lot of y'all live like that. And that's how you're going to die. But because I came up in an environment that policed that behavior, I did not have the opportunity to develop those kinds of habits. Habits begin here. Your thoughts are habits. I wasn't allowed to develop bad thought habits because bad thought habits lead to bad action habits. Bad action habits lead to bad outcomes. And it wasn't just about me. That's what it is to grow up in an organized criminal situation. You're within these parameters. You have to operate within these parameters. You don't get to do what the fuck you want to do the way you want to motherfucking do it. Well, you do, but within the fucking constraints. You can do anything you want within here. You go outside of this motherfucker, you become the enemy. And they dispatch enemies where I come from. I don't give a fuck who you are. No one, no matter how badass, no matter how dear to me, is bigger than the thing. Which the latest rapper friend says lately, no one's bigger than the program. Since y'all get everything, y'all fucking know how to rap and fucking movies and shit. Yeah, no one's bigger than the program is real. It's very real. So the reason I was able to develop the level of insights that I did, that helped me to stay alive, healthy, and free while I did everything under the motherfucking sun. I turned from nothing. You got in front of me, I dealt with it and kept it moving. The reason I was able to do that was because I did as I was taught and told. I didn't make shit up as I went along. I assimilated the understandings that were afforded me, and I embraced those things, and then I evolved them through my own understanding. My friends did not come from these environments. They came from environments where they went to church every Sunday, where mommy and daddy went to work every day. and nobody got killed in their house, like inside their house. Not when outside got killed, in their house. But we came from the same neighborhood, though. We just weren't the same people. This is where the, threes, twos, and ones comes from. So when I give information, when I pass on information, it's well earned, it's well researched, it's well established as the facts of reality. So, yeah, I'm saying they kill at the same rate at least as we do. At least. But they also control the mediums of information distribution. So if you think if you think the police are going to admit, like, hey, yeah, one of us just did some rotten shit, so we're going to go ahead and lock him up and whatever, like when they, and have to investigate themselves, right? You know that they're not going to investigate themselves and be honest, right? Well, if you know that white people control radio, television, movies, news, and major platforms on the internet, and all of these are the mediums through which the majority of the information that you perceive as reality come from, what makes you think that they're going to tell you about how much fuckery they do? What makes you think that they're going to tell you how horrible and violent and self-hating you are, and then also tell you, oh, we're the same way too? You cannot trust their information, is my point, if you're not getting my meaning. You can't trust their information if you haven't figured that out. This is why I say that our minds are colonized. Because I hear people say all the time, they don't trust Whitey, they don't trust the government, they believe they're criminals and they lie and they cheat and they steal. But if they turn around and say, take a shot, put this needle in you, you do it. So which is it? You trust them or you don't trust them? That's a critical question. Y'all don't ask those critical questions. And in the instances where you do ask them, you don't seek the fucking information to answer the question. It's like you think you're so smart and you're so sharp that you came up with a question to which there is no answer. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't come up with no question. There's no question that's ever crossed your mind to which there was no answer. But the answer ain't going to come up and smack you in the face, shit for brains. So if you really want to know, why they be doing the shit they be doing though? Like, why they be lying like that? If you really want to fucking know, all you got to do is put your head down into a couple of motherfucking books, or watch some docs, or, read some studies, or, listen to an audiobook. It's all out there, my nigga. There are no mysteries. It's just the information you are not in possession of. There are no mysteries. There are no mysteries. There are no questions that any human being is inclined to be capable of asking to which there is not an answer. The question is, are you willing to do the necessary things to acquire the answer? And then are you willing to accept what you must then do in light of the answer? See, that's the grown-up shit. That's the big nigga shit. That's the real nigga shit right there. So, yeah. Yeah, they kill each other at least the rate that we do. In fact, let me see. Fact check. Black people commit the most murders in America. This is on Revolt. Whether directly or indirectly, violence is often glorified and perceived to be an essential part of Black culture. The idea of black on black crime is a myth because the majority of all violent crime in the United States happens between people of the same race. The claim black on black crime is a legit problem. High incarceration rates prove that Black people are the more violent, commit more crimes, and are responsible for the majority of the white people killed in America. That's false. That's the claim. That's false. That claim comes from people being completely subjugated by the propaganda produced by white supremacists. They create the whole narrative of your reality, and you never step outside of it. You just look at it and go, yeah, that's crazy. That's fucked up, son. Come here, girl. Whether directly or indirectly, violence is often glorified and perceived to be an essential part of black culture. The idea of black on black crime is a myth because the majority of all violent crime in the United States happens between people of the same race. According to the Vera Institute Vera Institute was one of the organizations that operates inside the prisons in terms of prison education. They were in the same prisons I was in here in South Carolina. 57% of reported violent crimes committed against white victims are perpetrated by white offenders. Let me say that again. 57% of reported violent crimes. There's a whole bunch of shit that doesn't get reported. 57% of reported violent crimes committed against white victims were perpetrated by white offenders. The term black on black crime rebrands acts of violence whenever the assailant and victim are of the same race, bounded by location and income. Like I said, you kill the people who are closest to you. If you're inclined to kill at all, who are you going to be in contact with? The people who are in your environment. Who is in your environment? Well, usually people look like you, right? But have you ever heard of white on white crime, Latinx on Latinx crime, or even Italian on Italian crime when describing the mafia, right? All the killing that the Italian mafia did on each other, left and fucking right, left and right.
Yeah.
For like 100 years. You ever heard of Italian on Italian crime? Who the fuck goes for that dumb shit? Who goes for that stupid shit? If the exact same crime happens in a wealthier non-black community or neighborhood, a certain level of neutrality is afforded. Police, politicians, or media will simply describe the crime for what it is, a murder, an assault, etc. They won't give it a title and make it a type or category of crime. Rich on rich crime. Never heard of rich on rich crime, right? And rich people be killing each other all the fucking time. Never hear that though. But y'all accept these things. Y'all accept these terms. Y'all accept these ideas from people you claim you don't trust. People who have historically shown you that they're not on your fucking side. You're not thinking. Can you take responsibility for that, my people? That you're not thinking? That's you. That's you not thinking. That ain't Mr. Charlie doing that. He giving you plenty of shit to like be distracted by, but that's not him in your head not thinking for you. That is you doing that. And yes, your mind is colonized.
Yeah, they give you all of the distractions so you're more comfortable with not thinking. So it only pops up in small spaces when you go, oh, yeah, I do care about that. Hold on, that girl got fat ass. Shit,
right,
them niggas fighting.
Right. Exactly. So the rest of this goes, from President Reagan to Biden, violence within black communities or the perception of more crime being committed by black people has been used to push political agendas and campaigns. And see, that is a very important thing for our collective to begin to wrap their minds around. This is why I say think critically. Think critically. Because if you don't understand the correlations between things, shit can be done right in your face and you won't figure out what's being done until it's too late because you don't know how to correlate things. You don't know how to measure or determine what one thing means in relation to another thing. You look at things as though they have nothing to do with one another.
No deductive reasoning.
No deductive reasoning, which is part of the critical process, which you need your frontal lobe in order to be able to do, which you cannot do if your motherfucking amygdala is activated, which it will tend to be if your ass lives in an environment where you don't have sufficient food, sufficient housing, sufficient education, or opportunity. And those conditions did not come about, do not exist, and are not maintained by happenstance or accident, or simply because you're black. There are causes for these things. But if you're paying no particular attention to any fucking thing but how fat her ass is or who's fighting, then you'll never fucking figure it out. You'll never see it. And you won't be able to teach your children to see it. And they won't be able to teach their children to see it. And it'll be the blind leading the fucking blind generation after generation.